Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for this week's video. I'm covering my Bits and Bobs collage quilt. This is part 16. Yes. Okay. I'm continuing for this week. I'm gonna continue on this crochet butterfly block. I had already done the blind stitching most of the way around, and I finished that, so the block is down. And then I did a quilting stitch around the butterfly itself, and that has done a lot, but as with some blocks, the background is quite puffy. Now, just like I did a couple weeks ago for the Easy Peasy Mini Dresden Flower block, I'm going to add some grid quilting to, as I put it, tame the background so it's at least puffy and in the design. I want it to be puffy. Now with that one, I used the plaid to quilt grid squares, and I'm going to do the same this time, but I'm going to do them on point to be the same as the butterfly block itself. So I already started. In the other block, I used the plaid in the background, but I don't have any kind of design like that in this one, so I'm going to use my trusty, I have a 1-inch wide painter's tape, and I use it to sort of do my guiding for where I need to stitch. So I just pull myself a piece. Now to begin with, for that first line, I used my grid ruler and I lined it up, and then I put the tape where I wanted it. But once you have that first line, 2 lines down, because I quilted on both sides in that case, you just have to line it up with one of the quilting lines you already have, and that should do it. Now, I don't always 100% trust that, and I do go back in with my grid ruler and just make sure that it's straight like I want. But now I'll quilt along this line, then move the tape down again, quilt along that line. And when I'm done all this direction, then I will come back and do all the other direction, and it'll give me little on point squares in the background of this block. So I'm gonna go make some progress, and I will come back and share that with you. I finished the quilting on the background of the butterfly block, and it definitely did the job of taming it. When I was looking back at my notes for this block, I found, I had forgotten, that I originally had suggested to myself that I do a running stitch around the edge of the block in blue, dark blue, but I don't think this block needs it. I didn't think of the quilting in the background at the time, so part of it was to help with that, but I think I'm going to not do that, but I'll keep it in mind. I can always add it later. And now I get to pull out the basting, which is always such a milestone of I'm finished. Which which is fun. There. Well, that's it for this week. I'm not sure where I'm going next. The middle is pretty much done, so I was thinking of starting here and making my way around the outer edge all the way around, finishing it in that order. I might, but before I go too much further, it has occurred to me that I haven't dug into my, I have, here, I'll show you. I have a bucket put aside where I had dug through my trims and buttons and things, and some of this I would still like to include in my quilt, tucked in behind blocks, like pieces of lace, silk ribbon. I think I might do some silk ribbon flowers, some more silk ribbon embroidery with that. I have little pieces, little treasures that I still would like to use, especially things like this mother of pearl button, this really big mother of pearl button, and maybe this one too with some kind of ribbon in that. Wouldn't that be pretty? And I have some other bigger interesting buttons that I also could cluster somewhere, and I have some flowers planned to cluster. I'm not sure this is actually showing. Okay, so I have other little things that I might add still. So I reminded myself that I need to poke in this bucket to see, before I stitch everything down, to see if there's something I want to use to tuck under somewhere. Maybe. So I'm going to lay out the quilt in full off camera because it doesn't all fit on camera if I'm set up this way. And play a little bit some afternoon after I get my chores done. Yeah, we'll see. Got lots of little fun bits. Little collar. Yeah, okay. Well, that's it for this week. Like, comment, share, as it's phrased, if you like the video, and if you're interested, I'll be showing my progress next week again. Thanks for watching.